Hello everyone, welcome to Abhyati IAS, Day 2 of UPSC Prelims Current Affairs Series 2024. सेशन स्टार्ट करने से पहले आई वुड लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट यू ऑल कि पहले आप जाके अभ्यर्थी आईएएस के चैनल पे जो हम कम्युनिटी पोस्ट डाल रहे हैं उसमें ये क्वेश्चन सारे अपलोडेड हैं, वहां पे जाके प्लीज एक बार अटेम्प्ट करें ताकि जब आप रिवर्ट बैक करें इस वीडियो पर तो आपको एक प्रॉपर अंडरस्टैंडिंग मिल सके. With reference to mission Gaganyaan, consider the following statements. It is a joint collaborative mission of ISRO and NASA. The mission aims to send an Indian crew to high Earth orbit on board an Indian rocket. India will be world's fourth country to send a crewed mission into space after Soviet Union, the USA and China. We have to select how many of the statements given above are not correct. So the answer would be B. A nahi hai, B hai. That is only two statements are incorrect, which are statement number 1 and 2, and statement number 3 is correct. With Gaganyaan mission, India has become world's fourth country to send a crewed mission into space after Soviet Union, USA and China. So statement 3 is correct. Statement 1 is incorrect because Gaganyaan is a collaboration between India and France. ISRO will provide main technologies and system for Gaganyaan mission, but Russia और France भी इसमें help करेंगे. Russia इसमें help करेगा with the selection of astronauts and France will help in developing space medicines. Statement 2 is incorrect because Gaganyaan mission will help fly three-membered crew into low Earth orbit at an altitude of 400 km for a period of 3 days. While in the question we were given that it would help fly in a high Earth orbit, which would be incorrect. Next question. With reference to coronal mass ejections, CMEs, consider the following statements. It is a large expulsion of plasma and magnetic field from the sun's corona. After CMEs are released, they travel away from the sun at the speed of light. Unlike the solar flares, CMEs can impact radio communication, electric power grids, and even threaten astronauts in space. We have to select that how many of the statements are correct. So the answer would be A. Only one statement is correct, which is statement number 1. Why coronal mass ejections were in news? Because in June 2023, scientists discovered that a solar eruption, जो कि 2017 में हुई थी, it had maintained a constant temperature for nearly 6 years. Statement 1 is correct because a coronal mass ejection is a large expulsion of plasma and magnetic field from sun's corona. Coronal mass ejections can travel at a varying speed, that is as slow as 250 km per second as well as high as 3000 km per second. So in the question it was given that they can travel away from the sun at the speed of light, which would be incorrect because speed of light is 3 lakh km per second, which is way higher than the actual speed of traveling of CMEs. Additionally, what is plasma? Plasma एक highly ionized gas होती है which is present on sun. While corona क्या होता है? सन का जो आउटर मोस्ट पार्ट ऑफ एटमोसफियर होता है उसको कोरोना कहा जाता है. एंड कोरोना में काफ़ी स्ट्रॉन्ग मैग्नेटिक फील्ड होती हैं एंड जब भी ये मैग्नेटिक फील्ड काफ़ी क्लोजली पैक होती हैं देन व्हाट हैपेंस इज सोलर एटमोसफियर में से सडन एंड वायलेंट बबल्स ऑफ गैसेस एंड मैग्नेटिक फील्ड्स निकलते हैं जिनको कोरोनल मास इजेक्शंस बोला जाता है. Likewise, statement 3 is incorrect because both coronal mass ejection and solar flare can impact radio communication, electric power grids, navigation signals, and even threaten astronauts in space. Next question. With reference to solar flares, consider the following statements. It results when energy stored usually above sunspots is suddenly released. C-class solar flares are large, significant events that have the power to cause global radio blackouts on the Earth. The objective of solar mission Aditya L1 is to monitor sun's high energy X-ray solar flares. So we have to select how many of the statements given above are correct. So the answer would be B, that is only two statements. Statement number 1 and 3 are correct and statement number 2 is incorrect. So why solar flares were in news? Because in July 2023, Sun emitted an X-class solar flares which disrupted radio communication over parts of United States and Pacific Ocean. Statement 1 is correct because a solar flare is a tremendous explosion on the sun that happens when energy stored in twisted magnetic fields which are usually above sunspots, is suddenly released. So there are 5 different classes of solar flares, which are A, B, C, M, and X. Each of these 5 classes is at least 10 times more potent than the previous class. Here the class denote कि कितना intense solar flare होगा and the number denotes कि उसकी कितनी strength होगी solar flare की. Statement 2 is incorrect because X-class flares are large significant events that have the power to cause global radio blackouts. तो C-class flares जो होती हैं they are slight and have little effect on Earth. Solar flares को हम further divide कर सकते हैं into various categories based on their brightness in X-ray wavelength. जो medium sized M-class flares होती हैं they typically result in radio blackouts which majorly affect in Earth polar regions. Statement 3 is correct because high energy L1 orbiting X-ray spectrometer, which is also known as Helios, is a payload on board India's solar mission Aditya L1 spacecraft. What is Helios? Helios is a hard X-ray spectrometer which is designed to study solar flares in the high energy X-rays. But one of the other payload of Aditya L1, which is SOLEXS, it will measure solar soft X-ray flux to study solar flares. जो भी डाटा कलेक्ट किया जाएगा बाय द हीलियोस it will enable the researchers to study the explosive energy release and electron acceleration जो solar flares के impulsive phases के दौरान होती है. Next question. With reference to sunspots, consider the following statements. Statement 1. Sunspot form at areas where magnetic fields are particularly very weak. Statement 2. Sunspots are most common when the sun reaches the peak of its cycle. So the answer would be D, that is statement 1 is incorrect but statement 2 is correct. Why sunspots were in news? Because it is being estimated that sun is expected to reach its peak activity between January and October 2024. Statement 1 is incorrect. Why? Because sunspots are areas where magnetic field of sun is about 2500 times stronger than Earth. Sunspots are areas where the magnetic field of sun is much higher than anywhere else on the sun. Because of this strong magnetic field, the magnetic pressure increases while the surrounding atmosphere pressure decreases. So because of this strong magnetic field, what happens is when magnetic pressure increases, तो उस जगह का जहाँ पे सनस्पॉट्स हैं वहाँ का टेम्परेचर जो है वो कम हो जाता है रिलेटिव टू इट्स सराउंडिंग्स. इससे क्या होता है कि कंसंट्रेटेड मैग्नेटिक फील्ड होने की वजह से सन के इंटीरियर से जो नई गैसेस हैं और जो हॉट फ्लो है वो सरफेस तक नहीं आ पाता. तो इसकी वजह से क्या होता है कि जो रीजन ऑफ सनस्पॉट होता है इट अपीयर्स डार्कर देन इट्स सराउंडिंग एरियाज. सनस्पॉट्स कब बनते हैं? दे आर मोस्ट कॉमन व्हेन द सन रीचेज इट्स पीक ऑफ इट्स साइकिल एंड ये साइकिल होता है अराउंड 11 years का. At the time of solar maximum, what happens is number of sunspots they are more, they are at their peak, and at the time of solar minimum, there are very few or no sunspots. Sunspots की वजह से अर्थ के मैग्नेटोस्फीयर में जियोमैग्नेटिक स्टॉर्म्स भी देखने को मिलती हैं. And what happens is during a solar maximum, sun emits more radiation than usual बिकॉज सन में से जो प्लाज्मा निकल रहा है उसकी वजह से मिलियंस ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स एंड प्रोटॉन्स ट्रेवल करते हैं टुवर्ड अर्थ. एंड व्हेन दीज चार्ज सोलर पार्टिकल्स एंटर अर्थ एटमॉस्फेयर एंड अर्थ के मैग्नेटोस्फीयर के साथ जाके मिलते हैं तो वहां पे हमें ब्यूटीफुल ऑरोरास देखने को मिलते हैं. बट ऑन द अदर साइड दे कैन ऑल्सो डिस्टर्ब इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बाय नेगेटिवली इम्पैक्टिंग सैटेलाइट नेविगेशन कम्युनिकेशन एंड इलेक्ट्रिक पावर ग्रिड्स. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. With reference to solar mission Aditya L1, consider the following statements. India's Aditya L1 is fully indigenous mission. The Aditya L1 spacecraft has a mission life of 6 years. The orbit of Aditya L1 spacecraft is a heliosynchronous orbit which is located nearly 1.5 million kilometers from Earth. How many of the statements given above are correct? So the answer would be A, that is only one statement, which is statement number 1 is correct. Aditya L1 क्या है? ये इंडिया की पहली स्पेस ऑब्जर्वेटरी है टू स्टडी द सन. इट वाज लॉन्च्ड ऑन September 2, 2023. Statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. Because ISRO's Aditya L1 solar mission is a fully indigenous effort with the participation of national institutions. Aditya L1 has a mission life of 5 years. The question we were given that it has mission life of 6 years, so it would be incorrect. Aditya L1 mission will help in understanding various phenomena related to Sun, such as coronal heating, coronal mass ejections, and various other phenomena of space weather. Statement 3 is incorrect because Sun synchronous orbit, which is also known as heliosynchronous orbit, are Earth center orbits which have an altitude of 600 to 800 km above the Earth's surface, whereas halo orbit is a three-dimensional periodic orbit that is associated with one of the Lagrange points, which are L1, L2, or L3. These points help us in placing a satellite strategically between Earth and the Sun. This L1 point was selected in order to ensure that the mission lifetime of 5 years is optimally achieved by reducing the fuel consumption, and moreover it will give a continuous and unobstructed view of the Sun. That is all for today. Thank you for discussion. Please do like and share our video and subscribe to our channel Abhyarthi IAS.